welcome to this video. Today we talk about Lifelines of National Economy, Class 10. Lifelines of National Economy. What are the lifelines of national economy? The economy works if there are exchange of goods and services. The economy works when people produce something, people are able to market it, and consumers are able to buy it. When producers and consumers, when both are happy, when they both have exchange of value, then the economy works well. For this economy to work well, there are certain things which are called aids to trade. What is trade? The buying and selling domestically, or buying from international market, that is import, and selling to an international country, that is export. This is trade. Now this domestic trade and international trade will happen only when aids to trade are there. What are those? Maybe transport, maybe warehouse, maybe ports and airports, maybe suitable customs and suitable tariff, maybe insurance facility, maybe banking facility. All these are the lifelines. In this session we talk about roadways, railways, airports, seaports, etc. So why is transportation necessary for, or why is transportation considered as aids to trade? Because movement of goods is necessary, only then the goods will reach from producer to consumer. So for movement of goods you need to have it transported. Also for movement of services, if you want a doctor, then the doctor has to come to your place, you need transportation. If you want medical facilities, you have to go to a big hospital which is in a different city, you need transportation. So for movement of goods or movement of services, for the consumer to go to the producer's place, for the producer to go to consumer's place, for the producer to send the goods to the consumer's place, for the consumer to fetch the goods from the producer's place, from the factory, from the field, you need transportation. So to move the goods or service from the place of production to the place of consumption, transportation is necessary. This has to be efficient, that is with respect to time, that is how much time it is spent when the goods are reaching, the cost, how much money you spend for the goods to reach the other place, and whether it is adding utility. For example, apples from the farm to the consumer's supermarket, if it takes 3 months to reach, it will get spoiled. It is a perishable goods, right? If you spend so much time, if you send by air, you will spend a lot of money. It will be too costly. So you can neither send by air because it is too costly, nor you can send by sea because it will take a lot of time. If that is the case, then that means this transportation is not really adding utility. So if it is flowers, if you send it by a decent transport, it will reach the next day. But if you send it on an open truck, because of the wind that blows, the petals of the flowers will get spoiled. So flowers will not be fit enough to be formed into a bouquet and given to somebody. So utility will be lost. Maybe at a lesser cost you are able to send, maybe at a good enough acceptable time frame the goods are able to reach the consumer, but utility is lost. So the transportation has to be efficient. What do we mean by this? We mean there should be a cold chain so that the milk or the flowers or the fish, etc., are transported in such a fashion that it retains its utility, retains its value. So what are the different types of transport? Road, rail, water, air are all called means of conveyance. These are called means of conveyance and modes of transport. Modes of transport and means of conveyance are the words we use in the transportation parlance. When there is one truck, it is called a means of conveyance. The truck can be a truck that can carry bulk cargo, a truck that can carry a container, a truck that can carry a cartons. It is a means of conveyance. Transport by road is called a mode of transport. Transport by rail is another mode of transport. Then comes the important part of communication. What is special about communication? Communication is necessary for exchanging information. Maybe the producer want to advertise that this goods he is having or these services he is offering, and these are the characteristics, properties, specialities, uniqueness of his goods which you want to like to buy. Maybe the consumer wants, I want this particular thing or this particular specification. As a consumer, a company will say, I want 100 labor of this quality or this training or this qualification or this experience, right? So this is communication. You have to exchange information. The producer may have to send some information to the market. The consumer might like to send some information to the market. The market would like to send some information to all the public. So this communication can be sometimes personal, mostly public. Why? Personal is one person to another. You make a phone call, you send a letter. Public means what? One person sends to many, or you want not only the person whom you know, but everybody who might be interested. The target audience may be a larger one. That is a public communication. It can be one way or two way. In telephone, you speak, they also speak. In letter, you send a letter, but they don't send a letter immediately. It will take some time. It is not immediately two way. It can be verbal, visual, auditory. Means what? You can have a TV, you can have a radio, or you can have a newspaper. Different ways of communicating. Earlier, post, telegraph, telephone, etc. were the main modes of communication. Then for mass communication, we had television, radio, press, etc. But today, internet has taken over the world. Internet can send data, internet can send video, it can send audio, it can send verbal, it can send written communication, it can send anything to anybody, anywhere in the world, instantly. So that is the internet. It has the benefits of all the modes of communication that we have ever had. It will give it immediately. It can be authentic or it can be signed, and then privacy can be ensured, and it can go in any form, that is audio, video, or text or document or whatever. It can immediately go. It can go to one to many or one to one. All the facilities have been brought by the internet. To look in details, in India, the roadways are 56 lakh kilometers. The roadways are 56 lakh kilometers. This is the road network of India. Is it adequate? Actually, still, it is not yet adequate. We need more roads. Construction of roads is cheaper. The cost of construction is cheaper than that of any other modes. Even in uneven surfaces like mountains or hills or deserts, you can construct a road. Roads can be converted in mountainous areas also. In Himalayas and all, we have the roads. Across the mountains, you can dig a tunnel and you can do a roadway. Laying a road is easier compared to other modes. It is economical for transportation of, if it is less number of people, lesser distance, lesser quantity. If you have 100 apples or 1000 apples, road is better. If you have 1 million apples to be transported, if you have 100 tons of fish to be transported, then road may not be the best thing. It can provide door-to-door service. So loading and unloading is easy. When you order food, food comes by road. Food doesn't come to you by train or air, right? When you order food for immediately to eat. But when you buy rice, 100 tons, it will also come by truck. But when you order rice, 1000 tons, it has to come by ship or something, because you might be buying from another country where it is cheaper. So that is why the export happens for commodities overseas. When some country buys wheat, when a country buys rice, when a country buys petroleum, when a country buys sunflower seed, it will come by sea because it is cheaper. It doesn't come by road because it is not connected, it is far away, it is more quantum, etc. Likewise, when hundreds of people have to go, mostly you go by train or airlines, etc. When some tens of people have to go, you go by bus, etc. Also, the roadways provide connectivity to other forms of transport, from seaport to the factory, from airport to your home. You need the road connectivity for you to move. There are two types of roads: metal roads, on which cement or concrete or bitumen or coal, etc., or tar, etc., is used, so that it's an all-season road. Unmetal road is clay or crushed rock only is used. It is not an all-season road, but it is not a mud or dirt road. Now, coming to roadways in India, we have different classifications. For example, we have a golden quadrilateral. Golden quadrilateral does what? It is a 6-lane superhighway. It connects Delhi, Calcutta, Chennai, Mumbai. So it's a 6 lane. 6 lanes means what? At any point in time, you have multiple cars can go side by side. The north-south corridor links Srinagar to Kanyakumari. Srinagar in Jammu Kashmir to Kanyakumari in Tamil Nadu. It is about 4,000 km long. And then the east-west is 3,300 km long. What is east-west? From Assam to Gujarat, or Porbandar in Gujarat to Silchar in Assam. It's the east-west. These are the golden quadrilateral. Quadrilateral, this means what? You have a triangle, square, rectangle. Quadrilateral is not exact square or rectangle, but a multi-sided figure. National highways. What are the national highways? These are the road systems where National Highway Authority of India and the Central Public Works Department together arrange to connect different states. National highways. The most important national highway is the highway number 1. It connects what? It connects Amritsar to Delhi. What is the other name for it? Sharsha Suri Marg. Sharsha Suri Marg. Right? Then comes the state highway. Highways are constructed by the Public Works Department of the respective state. It mostly connects the district headquarters to the state capital. We have the district roads. District roads are within the district. It connects the district headquarters to other places, the taluks, the big cities or towns within the district. Other roads are the rural road or a village road, which are managed by the municipalities, the panchayat, the gram panchayat, the block panchayat, etc. What are other roads? Other roads are inter-village and intra-village roads. Inter-village and intra-village roads. These are the basest form of the road, where the rural population or the farm produce start to move out of the farm or their homes. These are mostly managed by the Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana. Gramin Sadak Yojana means what? Village road program. right? And mostly the people who work here are the people who go for the rural employment guarantee scheme. Rural employment guarantee scheme. In rural employment guarantee scheme, what happens is government promises to provide employment to the unemployed rural poor or the urban poor, which a guaranteed wage. For example, some 500 rupees a day. They will be given work for at least 100 days a year to ensure that people don't fall into poverty. So this people have to begin a work. So some of the work given is laying of the village roads to connect the different parts of the village to the nearest bigger town. The most important form of the roadways is the border roads. Why? Because the border roads organization, which is in some form a quasi defense organization or the organization that helps the military, air force and all, they have laid roads along our international borders in the north and northeast, maybe the China border, Tibet border, Bhutan border, Bangladesh border, Pakistan border. So, and these are of strategic importance from the defense perspective as well as economic importance for cross-border small trades and going and coming to the neighboring countries. The importance of this is that the bordering areas are having difficult terrain. So, the qualifications required, the technical specification required for laying that road is a special subject which BRO is expert in. Most importantly, they have built the Atal Tunnel. Atal Tunnel is 9 kilometer long tunnel between Manali and Lahore. Between Manali and Lahore. Where is this? This is in the Pir Panchal range of the Himalayas. So on the Himalayas, between the valleys and the Ghats, a tunnel has been laid for 9 kilometer long, where 3000 meters above the sea level, a tunnel has been laid by the BRO, Border Roads Organization. Coming to railways, railways are the largest public sector undertaking. They have 68 kilometer route length. In roads, we have how much? We have 56 lakh kilometer. This is not 56 lakh, this is not 68 lakh, this is 68,000. 56 lakh road, 68,000 railways. The railways, for the sake of administration, are divided into 16 zones. For example, Southern Railway, Southeastern Railway, Southwestern Railway, Northern Railway, Northeastern Railway, Central Railway, like that. It is divided for the sake of administrative convenience. Bombay has Western Railways. They carry bulky weight, you need the railways because they are excellent for long distances. Why? The roadways run on tire on the road. There is a friction between the road and the rubber tire. On railways, it runs on the rolling stock runs on the rails which are made of iron and steel. So there is a lesser friction. So it can run better. So there is more fuel efficiency. So which a lesser cost you can cover more distances. These are the advantages of railways. There are three different gauges in India. The gauges are called meter gauge, broad gauge and narrow gauge. Narrow gauge is very rarely used. For example, from Kunnur to Uttarakhand, Ooty, Nilgiris, you have a special mountain railway. Likewise, Darjeeling, you have a special mountain railway. They have narrow gauges. They also have a tooth wheel in between to help the train go up the mountain and not slip down. Meter gauges are used to connect between smaller towns, while broad gauge is used to connect between cities. The first railway in India was in 1853 between Bombay and Thane, some 34 kilometer. Today, Thane is considered part and parcel of Bombay because of the expansion of the city, urban agglomeration, right? What are the challenges that railways are facing? The railways are facing challenges because you cannot expand the railway network more than what we have now. Though we have railways as the largest public sector undertaking, though we have the largest rail network, if you compare to Eurasian rail and all, which is a multi-country rail, Indian railways are the largest network. But still, we cannot have a railway line easily over river bridge. We cannot have railway lines on the Ghats of the peninsular India or on the coastal sides or on the Himalayan mountains. It is difficult. Laying lines on the Rajasthan deserts or the swamps of Gujarat or maybe forests of Madhya Pradesh is also difficult. That is the reason why we are not able to expand the railway network further. Sometimes it is not commercially viable, sometimes it is not technically feasible. What is commercially viable? The cost effectiveness of having a railway line, having goods and people to use that railway line. Technical feasibility is what? Whether we can lay the line in the swamp or the desert. Now, what are the other problems railways are having? Railways are having problems because of the people, the Indians. Some is ticketless travel, so they lose the revenue. Not maintaining the coaches or the premises clean and tidy, that is, soiling them and throwing dirt and rubbish everywhere. Theft and damage to property, not taking care of the railway property, thinking it's a government property, let government is our government, let it loose. And then wrong emergency chain pull. When the train is going, if it is a passenger train, you have an option to pull a chain in case of an emergency. Suppose something happens. Now what happens every now and then if you pull the chain, not only economic loss, there are so many other dangers also that the train and the people there face when you do a chain pull. So these are some of the actions of the people who use train which is causing difficulties to railways. Pipelines are an important mode of transport. Why? So in liquid form, whatever is in liquid form, like a crude oil or maybe diesel and gas, or maybe iron ore and other ores which are in the form of a slurry. What is slurry? When the iron ore is mixed with something else to make it in the liquid form so that it can flow, it is a fluid form, then it is called a slurry. So this is useful because laying of a pipeline is costly, just like railways. But using that is cheaper than railways. Why? In railways, you need an engine to pull the train. Here, you just push it and it will go. And there is a minimal cost for using a pipeline. So, gas is transported from Russia to Germany by pipeline, from Azerbaijan to Turkey by pipeline. And so, within India also, we have so many pipelines. Because though the initial cost is high, the subsequent running cost is cheaper. On the top of it, there is no traffic jam, there is no delays, and there is no loss because of unloading reloading. It is just a pipe. Now what are the major pipelines in India? One is from Assam oil field via Guwahati to Allahabad, from Assam to Allahabad, Baroni and all. Second is from Gujarat via Jalandhar in Punjab, and then Mathura, Delhi and Sonipat. These pipelines, how they are helping? They will take the oil to the refineries. In refineries, it will be converted into crude oil, will be converted into petrol or gas or other petro products, and then the petro products again can be shipped through the pipeline to other places where it will be further used. The gas pipeline from Hazira in Gujarat to Bijapur in Madhya Pradesh is also a famous gas pipeline. So we have pipelines from the oil fields of Assam, pipelines from the Gujarat, and also pipelines from Hazira. These are the popular pipelines in India. Coming to waterways, waterways is what using water as a means of transport. It can be river, it can be backwater, it can be on the sea. It is the cheapest means. Why? Because of the floating, it is still cheaper. And then you are not laying a road, you are not laying a railway line, you are not laying a pipeline. The cost is only on the means of transport, buying the boat. Now we have waterways happening in Sundarbans or backwaters of Kerala or Mandavi, etc. But the most important waterways are the national waterway number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like highway, we have a waterway. What are those? One is Allahabad to Haldia on the Ganga River. Allahabad to Haldia on the Ganga River. It is possible to transport goods and people for 1000 kilometers on the Ganges. Allahabad to Haldia is a national highway number 1. Second is Sadia to Dhubri in Brahmaputra River. Second is Brahmaputra River, 800-900 kilometers, Sadia to Dhubri. Third is in Udyog Mandal Chambakara canals, which is the canal. The canal is in Kerala. Third is the West Coast Canal. It is only 200 kilometers long, and because it is on the coastal canal, the dredging is more frequently necessary. The Kotapuram Udyog Mandal Chambakara canal. So in Udyog Mandal is where you have the FACT, fertilizers and agricultural chemicals Travancore Limited. Then we have the fourth one is on Krishna Godavari rivers, Kakinada to Puducherry stretch, Kakinada in Andhra to Puducherry in the Tamil Nadu side, Kakinada to Puducherry. Puducherry is Pondicherry. It is about 1000-kilometer long canal. So the first two are the river, Ganges river system and the Brahmaputra river system. The third and fourth is on the canal system, East Coast Canal and West Coast Canal. One on the Krishna Godavari river and one on the Kotapuram Udyogamandal Chambakara areas. The fifth one is on Brahmani river, Matati river. Two rivers are connected, Brahmani river along with Matati river. And also it goes up to the delta of Mahanadi river. It goes up to the delta of Mahanadi river. So this is a West Coast Canal in Chambakara. And then you have on the east coast with Mahanadi and Brahmani river delta, and then you have a Krishna Godavari river. These are the 5 waterways. Are these the only 5 waterways? No, we have more. Why special? Because 95% of the foreign trade is by sea, because it is cheap. So domestic trade also we should try to see, can it be made by sea? Of our total export or import, 68% value comes through or goes through sea. On the domestic side, why it will be helpful? Because we have 7,000 kilometers of coastline. If you want to ship something from Chennai to Tuticorin, you can go by road, you can go by rail, you can go by air. But if you go by sea on the coastline, it will still be cheaper. You can make use of the long coastline. So from Visakhapatnam to Paradip to Tuticorin to Chennai, and then come south. If you want, you can go to Colombo in Sri Lanka. Then come around and then Kochi in Kerala. And then when you go up, you can go to Mangalore in Karnataka. Then you can go up to Kutch or Kandla in Gujarat. The ports are there. So we have 12 major ports in India from where export import can happen. We have 200 intermediate or minor ports in India. What are some of the ports? Kandla port is important because it was the first port developed after independence. Kandla port. It is also called Deenadayal port. It is where it is in Kutch. Why it was developed? Because after partition, Karachi went to Pakistan. So we lost a port on the northeast. We wanted a port, so we developed Kandla called as Deenadayal, and it supports or it helps which of the states? Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Gujarat. All these states are helped by the Kandla port in Kutch in Gujarat. What type of port it is? It is a tidal port. What do you mean by tidal port? Tidal port means that sea tide, the water from the sea will come in and go out into that port. That means it will be easier for the ship to flow into the port without any further help during the high tide, and during the next tide it will go out. That is how the ships can easily sail into the port or sail out of the port. Next is the Mumbai port. Mumbai port is a earlier than Kandla. It is older than Kandla. It is the biggest port in India. It is a natural harbour. To ease the congestion of the Mumbai port, another container terminal was started near Mumbai. It is called Navasheva. It is also called Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust (JNPT). So Navasheva, JNPT, Mumbai, and then to ease the congestion to help more traffic in Mumbai, we have Kandla, and then we have Marmagao and Goa southwards. Marmagao is the largest iron ore exporting port in the world. 60% of the iron ore that goes out of India goes through Marmagao port. It is in Goa. Then we have a new Mangalore port which supports the Kundremukh mines. New Mangalore port in Karnataka. We have a Kochi port. Kochi port is a lagoon, a natural harbour. It's on the southwest peninsula. Southern peninsula, western side you have Kochi port. Southern peninsula, eastern side you have a Tuticorin port. Tuticorin port is again a natural harbour. Kochi is a natural harbour. Tuticorin port is also known for the hinterland. Now, somewhere the Tuticorin port is also famous because during the Indian War for Independence, Vavu Chidambaran started the steamship company of India and it sailed from Tuticorin to Kolkata. That is why it is famous. Tuticorin is also famous because of the pearl shipping. Tuticorin is also famous because somewhere near Tuticorin we had something called a Kayal port, which was a major port of the Pandya kingdom during the what do you call medieval period of the Indian history. Then we have the Chennai port. Chennai port is the oldest port, the second most busy port in the country. It handles almost 40% of the cargo and it is 40% of the volume. When we say 40% of the cargo, it is the oldest port. Chennai, Calcutta, Mumbai were the oldest ports of India, which were popular even before the British period. Paradip port. Paradip port on the east coast is also famous for the iron ore shipment. Vizag port. Vizag port is the deepest landlocked port in India. Vizag port. These are some of the major ports. We have 12 major ports and some 200 intermediate or minor ports. Coming to airways, Indian Airways was first nationalized in 1953. It was started by Tata. It was nationalized in 1953. That means what government took over the airline business in India. Later in 2022, it was given back again. Air India was given back to Tata Group. Now, Air India was first called Maharaja, then it became Air India. Then the Indian within India, whatever flies is called Indian Airlines. Whatever flies out of India, international flights were called Air India. Then again, Indian Airlines and Air India was merged. Then Air India Express was started for cheaper flights to the neighboring countries like Nepal or Middle East or Sri Lanka. This is about the airlines. And then for helicopter business, we have Pavan Hands, and then we have other smaller planes facilitating the movement within the northeast where road or rail movement is not possible. This is a costless mode of transport, safest mode of transport, fastest mode of transport. It is not only prestige, it is very comfortable to travel by air. When you have an international travel, the problem is you may be traveling 1 hour only on the air, but again you will spend more than 1 hour on each of the airports to complete the formalities. That is the only thing because of the security measures today required in air transport. Which are the major airports in India? Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta, Chennai are the major airports in India. But we have more international airports in India to facilitate so many things. For example, the airport in Bombay and Hyderabad, airports in Bombay is very large. You have 2 to 3 terminals. In Delhi, you have 2 to 3 terminals. But the airport in Bangalore and Hyderabad is still more popular or more having more popularity because The software export is one of the major exports of India, and the software, the techies, the technology experts are living in these cities or working in these cities. They come to India or go back to the foreign countries from these places. So these airports are very busy with the technocrats. Airlines and airports are important to facilitate business. People will come and go to fix the deals. People will come and go to ensure that the goods are moving properly. The goods will move by air in so many places. For example, all the Middle East countries are getting all the fresh vegetables and fruits from India by air, though it is costly because of the quality consciousness. And then we have lot of non-resident Indians living in the neighboring countries. For example, from Middle East to most of the Indian international airports, you have one flight at least every day, one to Kochi, one to Trivandrum, one to Chennai, one to Delhi. You have, why? Because most of the non-residents travel to India by an international flight. Kochi is the first privately held airport which is completely carbon neutral. Means what? They have a solar panels installed and solar power generation. That whatever electricity they are spending on the airport is totally equal to the electricity generated from the solar panels. First, carbon neutral airport. Now comes communication. Communication can be personal and public. Personal communication is transferring or transmitting of information between two people on phone or on letter or whatever. Right? Mostly the communication was handled by Indian Postal Network and Telegraph Network. Indian Post and Telegraphs was the public sector undertaking. The Indian Post is the largest in the world because you know the PIN code, the postal index number. 678531 is a postal index number of my village, right? So air mail, surface mail was two types of mails. The air mail is called the first class mail, where it is transferred by air to so that within 24 hours it reaches the destination city. Surface mail is when you have bulk parcels or newspapers or magazines, that is called the second class mail. There were six main channels for the letters to move: Rajdhani channel, Metro channel, Green channel, Business channel, Bulk channel, Periodic channel, and all. The letters used to move between two post offices on train, on air, on buses also. Not only government transport or not only public transport, on private bus also, the letters used to move from one post office to another so that everybody gets the communication. Then the telecom. In telecom, we had two types of entities in India. One is BSNL, Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited, and another is MTNL, Mahanagar Telecom Nigam Limited. They were helping the domestic telecom connectivity or international telecom connectivity, because in good old days, calling somebody overseas was not easy from everybody. Then, because of the digitization or the liberalization, the subscriber trunk dialing or a national subscriber NSD or STD came there, and then everybody was able to get an access to capability to dial anybody else in India. So from any village or town you can call any other village or town, even though in those days it was costly. Now the cheapest telephone facilities are in India. Later came the mobile cellular services, where you don't have to go to a fixed line connected to a place or wire. You can carry your phone on your pocket. It is called a mobile phone or a cellular phone. Now, private operators were allowed to come in. So you have operators like Bharti or Vodafone or Idea or Geo, Reliance Geo, etc. are the various private operators who are providing telephone services. Now, telephone services doesn't remain just to send an SMS or to make a phone call. Today, telephone services are value added. You have a 4G, 5G services where it can send data, it can send multimedia messages. What is multimedia? Multiple media. That means what? It can be text, it can be voice, it can be digital, it can be visual. Anything you can send. That is a 4G and 5G capability that you have today. So there is something called a Digital India program, where Government of India wanted to spread the information, the communication, the internet technology to everybody. So it is called IT plus IT equals to IT. Equals to IT means what? Equals to India tomorrow. How the India of tomorrow should be the Indian talent plus information technology. So spreading of information using the communication technology and internet by the people who are very talented in techno skills is called the India of tomorrow. IT plus IT equals to IT. So tech is an enabler. Next is the public communication or the mass communication, where you send out information not only to the people who know. It is not a circular to the staff or circular to the school students. Circular, it is an information to everybody who may be associated with this information, not necessarily known to you. So this is transfer or transmission of a message to a larger group. Mostly it could be one to many. It may be information, it may be for the awareness. For example, during pandemic you wear mask, or it can be entertainment. It can be a drama, it can be a soap opera, So radio, television, newspapers, magazines, books, these were the forms of communication earlier for a mass communication. Films were very popular in India because it was a most important means of entertainment even today. All India Radio is a Government of India entity which is also called Akashavani. It broadcasts a variety of programs for a different types of audience, not only news, not only government policy promotion, but all types of programs are broadcast by All India Radio or Akashavani. Today you have lots of private FM stations which are entertaining as well as informative. Then you have the Doordarshan. Doordarshan is the Government of India's television network. It's the largest terrestrial TV network. Terrestrial means what? The transmission of data through the land also happens through the towers on the land, not necessarily through satellite. Does it mean we don't use satellite? No, we use satellite communication also, we use terrestrial also, Doordarshan. Today we have a satellite TV or a dish TV, which is again dish network or a Videocon network or a Tata Sky network or a Airtel TV network or a Sun TV network. We have the TV networks. These networks carry different channels by different companies, different entities. It could be educational network also. During COVID pandemic, the government of India as well as the private channels and the private education companies, companies like Vedanta to Byju's to Akash to everybody had started educational channel. There are some 10 to 12 channel for class 1 to 12, and then every state government have their own educational channel. On the top of it, we have a central board of secondary education educational channels, where then you have the university grants commission educational channels, you have IGNOU educational channels. So today, because of the satellite TV explosion, satellite means what? A dish TV. That means what? From the dish at your home, you are able to receive from this satellite. You don't have a terrestrial network anywhere in the world you can receive. So you don't necessarily have to be near to the city where the broadcast or telecast happens. So it is a D2H, door to door, or direct to home television is possible. D2H is today possible. Newspapers, periodicals and magazines were there in India from pre-British period. During British period, we had more number of newspapers coming in to help the Indian independence movement. There are hundreds of languages in which newspapers are published in India today. 100 plus news languages newspapers are published in India. You have the magazines and books also published in these languages. The most popular language in which publication happens in India is Hindi. After that comes English and Urdu. India is the largest producer of feature films. The number of films produced in Bollywood, then in Tamil Nadu, Tollywood, then in Telugu. So the Tamil Nadu, Telugu, and Hindi belt together contribute more than 60% of the movies produced. If you forget the small English movies that we have, Central Board of Film Certification is known for certifying the films and promoting which film can be shown to which type of people within India. Now we come back to how these lifelines or the aids to trade help the national economy. These communication, these transport, these are like banking and insurance, lifelines or lifeblood for a national economy. National economy will be thriving only if international trade happens. What is international trade? Exchange of goods between two countries. Exchange of goods between two countries. It is international trade because it is cross border from one country across the border to another country. It is called import and export. It is not just a simple sell or buy across a village market by two farmers. A market is a place where exchange occurs. It may not be physical. You don't have to be face to face and giving the goods. Market can be today digitally happening on the computer screens. Local trade is carried in cities, towns, or villages. But for international trade, you need sea and air transport, you need custom clearance, you need import export license, you need capability to pack properly, you need capability to transport properly, you may need cold change, you may be requiring to ensure it reaches at the right place at the right time with no loss in between. That is delay, losses, breakages, pilferage, theft. All this you have to avoid when you do a international cross-border movement of goods. Resources are not distributed across the earth's surface. India may be good in something, Bangladesh may be good in something else. India may be good in something, China may be good in something else. US may be good in something, Germany may be good in something else. So we have to resort to buying and selling whatever need from other countries. Why? One, resources are not distributed. What are the resources? Maybe raw materials like iron ore, maybe uranium for nuclear reactors, maybe skilled labor just like information technology professionals of Bangalore and Hyderabad. It can be so many things. And no country is self-sufficient in every kind of resource. Not everybody has everything. You may have iron ore and somebody else may have magnesium and the third party may have sodium and potassium. And then there is a comparative cost advantage. Comparative cost advantage is mining of the resources, converting that into finished goods. You may not have the capital to have the plant and machinery to do it. You may not have the technology for having that plant and machinery to convert this raw material into a finished good. You will not have a market which will use all your finished goods. You will not have skilled persons who will work in your plant and machinery to convert these or mine these materials and convert into usable goods. So you may not have consumers who will buy this. So at any stage you can have a resource constraint. At any stage, resource constraint means what? The money that you pay to get that will not be adequate enough. You will get everything in every country, but then you will have to pay a lot of money to getting it. That is why the offshoring has come if it is a requirement of a skill. The outsourcing has come if it is a requirement of the plant and machinery. So like that we have found ways and means of getting goods from anywhere else in the world, maybe raw materials, maybe semi-finished goods, maybe imports, maybe even finished goods, maybe completely knocked down kits. And it is also because of the multiple wants. The people in India may need 100 things, of which not all 100 are produced in India. Then there is an expectation of a choice or an option in terms of quality and cost. The cars made in India, the cars made in Japan, the cars made in US are of different quality or of different cost. A person in India may think, okay, I want a different quality and cost, and I am okay to pay higher cost for a lesser quality, or a higher cost for a higher aesthetic value, or a higher cost for a higher safety features, and so I want to buy a different car made in Germany, not the one from Japan, not the one from US. It's possible. So then what you have to do, even if you have cars from Japan and cars from US assembled in India, this guy may like to import a completely assembled car from Germany. So you cannot, one person personally importing is one. When a lot of people are liking, then one person will think, okay, I will start a import business of hundreds of car and start a dealership of this German car in India. So the Skoda or the Audi will start coming possibly. So this is how the import and export happens. This is why international trade is necessary. That is why today certain goods you can buy only from US, for example, maybe for the satellites or maybe for the defense requirements, etc. Now China produces almost every goods of every quality. So if you want, there is nothing that China cannot supply to you today. Why? Because they have the plant and machinery, they have a capability to have cheaper imports, they have a capability of having a very low cost labor, so they can produce at a dirt cheap price. That is why everywhere in every country, everything you can find something of Chinese make also. This is a comparative cost advantage. They are able to make it cheaper and sell it cheaper. Some countries may not be able to make it cheaper, but they will sell cheaper by providing subsidies. Why? They are helping their country to export those goods into new markets in new countries. That is also happening. Now, what is balance of trade? When you have X amount of export and X amount of import, Y amount of import, the difference between is called the balance of trade. When you have more exports, you call a favorable balance. When you have more imports, you have an unfavorable balance. More exports means what? You give more goods, others have to give you more money. When they give you more money, it is called favorable balance because you will have extra money. India has trade relations with almost all the countries in the world. There are some 160 plus countries with which India is trading, and there are some 190 plus countries recognized by the United Nations. Now, there are trading blocks also. For example, Australia and New Zealand is one trading block. Within Germany, within Europe, you have a European Union trading block. Gems, jewelries, chemicals, etc. are the major products that we export. For import also, we use the gems and jewelry, raw materials we import. We import petroleum and crude, which is the most important import for us. Crude petroleum and LPG, the fuel, fossil fuels. We also import electronic items or machinery and plant. Some agriculture is also imported. For example, we import sunflower oil or palm oil, etc. India is now a software giant. We export lot of services. Sitting in Bangalore, and company, IT company, information technology company in India can earn more money than what we can earn from our jewelry import or a chemical manufacturing company or an agricultural field. That is the capability of the information technology today. What are services trade? Services trade is something where knowledge process outsourcing or business process outsourcing happens, where raw materials will come to you maybe, and then you will assemble it, and then the semi-finished goods will go out. So are you importing? You are importing raw materials or components. Are you exporting? You are exporting semi-finished goods or assemblable kits. So this is where you process something, you add value to it. It's a service. You actually don't get to see because value is getting added, but from the goods you will not find out. But this kit can be further assembled into the finished product. For example, there are kits from which you can make a mobile phone to kits from which you can make a car. These are called completely knocked down kits, CKD. right? Not only for that, the KPO BPO industry also helps in legal outsourcing. For example, a set of lawyers will provide legal services to you. Medical outsourcing, the doctors and nurses here will transcribe the medicines prescribed by the other doctors, or the pharmaceutical services, or research on finding new medicines for the new diseases. All these are the KPO BPO services where your knowledge is given to them, to another country, for another company, but you sit in your domestic hometown. So also the services trade, the most important form of and the good old form of services trade is tourism. People come, look at all the places and go back. You will not see anything changing between two countries. But when a person comes and enjoys your country and spends money in your country, he is giving money or he is spending money for your economy. So your economy stands to benefit. So income from tourism is a major income. Within India, if you see, Kashmir was the topper in the tourism income. In the neighboring countries, if you see, Sri Lanka, more than half of their income came from tourism. During pandemic, it took a big hit. Tourism also helps in other forms. It helps local handicraft, it helps cultural pursuits, it helps the hotels because people will eat food, it helps the lodges or the restaurants or the other people where people will stay, it helps the transport because people will travel. So it helps in multiple aspects of the economy, tourism. Domestic tourism also promotes national integration. You will have a better understanding about how a Kerala person from a Jammu Kashmir person, an Assam person from a Gujarat person, they will have a better understanding of each other, and so there will be a national integration, a binding, a bonding, a love and affection, a togetherness, a brotherly feeling. Different types of tourism are there. Heritage tourism, to look at heritages, for example, the backwaters or the good old palaces. Eco tourism, you want to see how Wayanad is eco-friendly. Adventure tourism, you want to see how the Lion-Gir forests are. Cultural tourism, you want to go and see how the Shanti Niketan is. Medical tourism, you want to go for Ayurveda medication, or the medical facility in India are cheaper or better than, for example, Sri Lanka or Pakistan or Bangladesh. Business tourism, people come to buy or sell certain goods. So these are the different types of tourism or services trade. Thanks for watching this video. Please come back for more such sessions.